aiming for, these long-term expected outcomes and the sustainability of these projects and the effect of this project in our communities. Let's look at some of the numbers because you were very competitive to reach this point. We had in the first call more than 840 applicants were received, involving more than 5,400 both private and public research units from 23 different countries. Each proposal was presented by a partnership composed by at least a research unit from the South and from the Northern Mediterranean countries. After 2 stages, we have 36 projects, and the data shows that up to 43% of the total funded projects involve the private sector. There is an encouraging percent of gender participation and a fair participation from the MPCs, which are looking forward, which is nearly 30%, which we hope that it will be more in the next calls in a way of partnership and co-ownership. For 2019, we have a budget of nearly 63 million, and the team, Octavia and Omar and the team all this are working very hard now on the annual work plan 2020. We are expecting through your research and cooperation to add in managing the natural resources within the Mediterranean agri-food and water systems in an integrated and substantial way, enhancing the Mediterranean agri-food value chains, development and competitiveness of business actors, creating employability and generating sustainable growth while maintaining and restoring the ecosystem service under current and future climate change. Why we are here? To listen to you, to know your needs. Networking rather than working in isolated islands. It's gratifying to note that the agenda of the meeting will cover a very wide range of very interesting items to see how these funded projects are going, scientific monitoring, financial monitoring, and what's very important for us is the networking between all of you. I hope you have a good engagement and a very successful 2 days. I always say that we should be proud of the progress we have made so far, while reminding ourselves that we need to further enhance our partnership to address current and future challenges in a rapidly changing world. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mohammed, for your very nice words. And before we proceed, I'd like you to introduce staff of the PRIMA Foundation, because those are the people who really are the responsible for making it happening, what's going on, that will be following you in any questions and any issues you may have during the whole time of your project, and even maybe further on. So let me start by Omar, who is the Deputy Director. You want to say something?
Yes. Yeah.
Please,
okay.
Omar.
Thanks, Octavi. Good morning to you all. It's always a pleasure to be joining this kind of meetings. It's not working? It's working. I think I can hear myself. Again, to have this kind of meetings with this community, with this high quality researchers and research supporters. Over the last 10 years and even more of my career, I have been involved in this kind of activities, and I always enjoyed this type of work. Today we are having this event jointly with ARIMNet, and I would like to say it frankly here that PRIMA owes it to successful initiatives and programs such as ARIMNet and PRIMA-MED, because we have built this initiative mainly on the successful experiences of programs and initiatives like ARIMNet and PRIMA-MED, where it showed that there is a high interest and a possibility to work together between the researchers from the north part of the Mediterranean and the southern part. So the sustainability and hopefully later on the positive impact is our main objective always. I'm Omar Amawi, part of the Secretariat team, and will be always available to support anyone or everyone who wants any kind of help that is within our powers and responsibilities in Barcelona. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you for your words, Omar. Julia, stand, please. He's our legal expert.
He's very important.
Pau. Pau, he's the financial manager.
So the money.
More important.
Money and law.
Antonella, she's a project manager.
Science.
Fabrice, he's a project officer that you may know, many of you, those of PRIMA-MED certainly know him. Mohammed, project officer as well. Marco, project officer as well. And Ali, and project officer as well, coming from Tunisia with very long experience. And Aliénor, that you saw at the entrance, she's everything in the secretariat, so everything. Without her, would be
lost.
Completely dead. So thank you very much for being here. You'll tell to Aliénor that those applauses were for her. Let me start. I'll repeat very quickly with figures, what Mohammed said about a couple of figures. In this morning, all the PIs, all the coordinators will have the opportunity to present very briefly their project. And I think this is a very good opportunity also for those from PRIMA-MED who are here to try to see whether they see issues on which they can work together, and to co-work and to network. And in the afternoon, we'll deal with the real issues, that is the problems that we are having, and try to find solutions for them. And tomorrow we'll discuss with the funding agencies, which is a completely different issue, because that will be roughly on other issues, especially on the call of this year. So let me just, sorry. Okay, oops. Okay, I'll present briefly what you've been successful. In fact, the main issue I want, or that Mohammed already pointed out, and I think that is very striking, is that the success rates were very low for the first call. We're trying to improve them for this year, but in 2018, we received many calls, many projects. The success rate for Section 1 was 2%, which is very, very low. And for Section 2 was 7%. So those who succeeded deserve all the merit, because that is not easy to succeed. So I'll present very briefly the portfolio, the results, what we think that PRIMA added value is, and then a couple of issues that have to do with the signature and the monitoring. Those are the three main areas, you know them very well. In 2018, we open up for all the areas of PRIMA, all the objectives, and this in part explains why we had so many projects. And here you see that projects that dealing with underwater, the projects that were dealing with different priorities. The dark blue is section 1, the light blue is section 2. So you see here that more or less in water, all the priorities were equally covered. This is also the same for farming, although there is priority 4, which was not covered at all. So we didn't receive, or we received projects, but none of them was selected to cover priority 4. The dark green is section 1, and the light green are section 2. And same for agro-food. You see here that that there are 2 priorities that are less well deserved than the other 2. Mainly the issue of, especially the issue of the diet, although we have a very high overweight in the Mediterranean, about 67% of all the population is overweight, according to WHO indicators, and yet there are few projects dealing with this issue. So this is only these 3 slides to tell you where and how these priorities in the program were covered. The results, as you see, for section 1, we received 457 proposals, only 9 were funded. So congratulations to those who made it. And those are the sort of participating entities under section 1. And you see that we have the private sector has a very relevant representation with 39 plus, if we count also the associations, we're up to 44% of the total entities, which is very substantial and much higher than any other program in Horizon 2020. Here you see in the section 2 receive 396, which in the end turned out into 27 projects being selected. So that's, again, very substantial and important. You see that farming, it's almost half of it, and water following it, and then agriculture, agro-food, the third one, with 22% of the projects. The coordinators, you see that both Italy and Spain have the same number of coordinators, the same number in water, whereas Italy did it much better in farming and Spain in agro-food. And you see the other coordinators being from Greece, France, Germany, Portugal, and one from Israel, which was the only one non-European in terms of coordination. The achievements of, therefore, of this call, I think that it is important to realize that we received 880 proposals, of which we were able to fund at the level of 48.5%, 48.5 million in this call, and something that is very relevant because I had never seen it before in my career. I never seen that under a scheme that is funding scheme such as Eranet, we spent 88% of the funds available. It is very remarkable because that means that the commitment of all the funding agencies is very relevant. As I said, 43% of the projects of the entities were from the private sector, and this is also, I think, a very relevant figure. And 30% of the budget under Section 1 went to non-European countries, which is, again, a very good figure, because we figured it out when drafting at the very beginning of the program, when discussing the Basic Act, that we should be around 25%, and at the first call, we already overtook this figure. Here you see graphically where the darkest circles are coordinators, the light circles are projects. And you see the distribution, which is more or less the same than I showed earlier on, but with more details, and you see the details for every country that are divided in the three areas and three main themes: water, farming, and agri-food. PRIMA added value. First of all, as I said, the competition was very tough, and therefore projects selected are just excellent. And although excellence is a word that is, I think, misused, because everybody talks about excellence, that excellence should be an exception, not the norm. But in this case, I think that the excellence is very accurate, because it shows that after a very tough competition, the highest 2%, the best 2% of projects were selected under Section 1, or the best 7% under Section 2, which is very remarkable. And the second thing is that, and those are two goals of PRIMA, this issue of the networking, which is a fundamental, and trying to reach critical mass in the Mediterranean. The challenges are so big that no one will be able to deal with them separately. We need to do it to tackle the challenges we have in the Mediterranean together. And this is the power, one of the powers of PRIMA. Which is our added value? Exactly what I said. So this issue of working together and working across borders. So trying to foster cooperation and setting networks that, as Mohammed will say, inshallah, will last after even the project is finished. So we want to create networks such as the ones, those from PRIMA-MED created, that are, several of them are still alive, and and I hope that they can survive also with the help of PRIMA. PRIMA will have a monitoring and evaluation tool that will be presented later on, so I will not go into that now. The fact that we share the knowledge, and we are open access for everything, but certainly with our knowledge, our publications, our research data. And we push for technology transfer. The mobility of researchers has to be contemplated as an implicit issue in the projects, and we want that the projects have as much as possible researchers' mobility as part of the projects. There is no better way to transmit and share knowledge than people contact, the personal contact. So people going to a different place, and the people of one side receiving people from outside. So this is an excellent way. In fact, researchers, after I think airline crews, are the people or the profession with more mobility of the whole sector. So I think that this is justified because of this knowledge sharing. And finally, networking with other projects from the EU, but from all the people working in the Mediterranean. Time to run, this is a rule for all the projects under Horizon 2020, and this is part of it, that says that between the deadline and the signature of the grant, 8 months max should elapse. And this means that for Section 1, this date was the 17th of May, so we are running a little bit late. We want this to improve it next year. So this is the first year we had some issues, and as you see at the very end, there are 3 projects which will not start until September. This accounts for 2 main reasons. One being that for the purpose of the project, they wanted to start later on because of the crops and so on and so forth, but also because we have an issue with the Egyptian partners that I hope will be solved very quickly. For Section 2, the date was for May, and we perfectly know that many of them didn't start yet, accounting for several problems, including problems of the funding agencies, that their readiness to have the funds available, or the internal procedure that each country has to allocate these funds. And this is something on which we need to work very hard, because we need to overcome also this issue. So it is very important for Section 1, it is obvious because I need to sign all the projects. But for Section 2, that we have your dates of your starting dates from you all, please. This is very important. We'll go into that when we discuss the monitoring. Let me just make a brief hint of what we expect from coordinators. The Secretariat of PRIMA is to support the projects. That's the reason why we exist. So we want to support you, but to support you, we need your help, without which it is impossible to support you, and that PRIMA fulfills its objectives. So we expect from the coordinators that they tell us anything related with this synchronization, meaning when they will start and whether all the partners are advancing at the same pace. Any issues being administrative, funding, technical, or anything before and during the project. So this is essential that you communicate with us as soon as you can, as soon as the problem pops up, that we have a full knowledge of what's going on, that all the milestones in the project are also communicated with us and discussed with us, that you submit us in the month 3 from the start of the project all your communication and dissemination plans, as it was stated, and finally that when you are going to publish or where you're going to leave your download your research data into a database, that we have them as soon as possible. This is a detail, but we are using funds of the European Union, and by contract we need to have the European Union has to be identified, including its logo in any publication, in any communication you will make. So you need to have PRIMA on one side and the European Union on the other. So that's an important thing, which in this case, the European Union is represented by the European Commission. But those are European Union funds. And you see here how to deal with it. And I'll finish with this slide. And this is and we'll deal with it more closely later on. But we have a contractual obligation with all projects of Section 1 to report and to make all the monitoring. And in fact, since we are funding these projects, it is, if you wish, more straightforward. But for Section 2, we also have the same duties, because nobody else but us will monitor Section 2 projects. So each funding agency funds the researchers with the same passport, but the whole project has to be monitored by us, by PRIMA. So we need to have very close knowledge of your activities, and we'll deal with the monitoring later on. And this is it. Thank you very much for your attention. We'll now go to the presentation of the projects. So, yeah, sure.
I think to add value of PRIMA, we miss what we mentioned yesterday workshop. Capacity building of the research system, especially training of young scientists. I think it's a very important add value for the PRIMA and should be highlighted here. Thank you.
I think you're right, that this is, I more or less mentioned it when I talked about researchers' mobility, but this is part of all the projects, but we don't have projects on capacity building, which means that it has to be inside every project a part of capacity building, which, by the way, is an eligible cost in all projects. But thank you very much for reminding us this very important issue of PRIMA. Thank you. Let's start with the projects, if you agree. Yes.
Yes, I did.
Fabrice.
I would say that 1/3 of the projects have already seen them. Do we move, Fabien?
I think we go here will be much
For the presentations, there will be 3 minutes for each project for the presentation. I'm sorry, but otherwise we'll never make it.
Okay.
And let me tell you that I'll be rather tough with the time. So please go ahead.
Okay.
Well, let me tell you, he's concierge, I hope, and he's Martin Buchholz, who will present. So
Thank you very much. Yes. CONSIERS is about a novel condensation-supported greenhouse irrigation system. So the basic idea is to have a greenhouse, a closed greenhouse with a closed air volume, and which recycles water by condensation purposes. This was already successfully approved in a greenhouse in Spain, in the Almeria, where a big heat exchanger provided cooling water which was taken from the night. So this is the basic idea still in that project. And also another precursor project was a desiccant greenhouse using liquid desiccants for drying the air and for cooling. which was built together with Cairo University, which is also a partner now. So this installation will also be part of the new project. And in the new project, we also have a strong focus on saline water, so mainly brackish water, which on the one side we can think of diluting brackish water by condensed water, and by this make it available for the irrigation. Another focus is pre-treated wastewater, also in combination with condensed water. And here is an example. This is already maybe part of the discussion now of the planning. As a new concept, which is just better, and the focus is on the climate control. So we try to cool the greenhouse without heat pumps. It's just cooling by the night of the cool of the night. And here you see a combination. This is a concept of irrigation water we put in with saline water. We put in the evaporation part and producing a very humid air, and then having the condensation with the support of a big cooling storage, which will be regenerated in the night, and getting condensed water and absorbed water with a absorption system. It's quite complicated to tell in 3 minutes, but everybody who is interested, we can maybe discuss later. Coming to the objectives, so we have two areas we are interested in. One is the climate control, to move towards a technical and economical sound solution of climate control in a closed greenhouse, and to adapt cooling functions to climatic conditions in Northern Africa, especially in desert climate. So our partners are from Algeria, Tunisia, and Egypt. So this is the focus of the project. Another one is the management of water, so to provide water recovery based on evapocondensation principles, and to integrate saline water in the water balance, which I was just mentioning, blending with the condensed water and providing additional evaporation in the greenhouse. Now the expected impacts. So it's quite ambitious goal, I think, to have this system, but also the impacts will be very big if it will be successful. So one of the impacts is water recovery. It is already approved in the first project I mentioned, Watergy, with Las Palmarias in Almeria in Spain. We had a water recovery up to 80% only by condensation. We want to use brackish water as a possible source of water, even seawater as a perspective for input for the water. And in the area of greenhouse production, so these are secondary effects, we expect an improved productivity, because in a closed environment you can add CO2 as a kind of fertilizer. This is interesting, and also by closing the greenhouse you can have a means of pest control, so insects will not come in. These are the main expected impacts in total. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Martin. Okay. Well, he's from the Technische Universität Berlin, and the main partners are from Germany, of course, Algeria, Egypt, and Tunisia. Let me go to the next one, which is, I'll call Ariana Faki, MED Water Rice, towards a sustainable water use in the Mediterranean rice-based agrosystems. There are 3 teams from Italy, 1 from Egypt, 3 from Spain, 1 from Israel, 2 from Portugal, and 1 from Turkey.
Yeah,
so please, Ariana.
exact. This is a Section 2 project. The topic is irrigation technologies and practices. The budget is more than 2 million euro. More than 60% of that should be funded by national funding agency, and this is the point. And I think it will be the main point for the discussion this afternoon, because at the moment the project has already started at the 1st April this year, and at the moment only 1 out of 11 partners already received money from the national founding agency, and the other are anticipating funds for the research. So this is a quite difficult topic. With respect to main objective, the general objective of the project is to explore the sustainability of innovative irrigation solution in the rice production sector in order to reduce rice water consumption and environmental impact, and to extend, also with the objective to extend rice cultivation outside of traditional paddy areas, to meet a demand which is increasing in the Mediterranean region. And how are we going to achieve this goal? Developing and experimenting irrigation solution, technologies and practices at the on-farm scales. The solution will not be the same in all the countries, but they will be discussed with the stakeholder. Stakeholder panels have been already set up in each country, and they will be involved in all the project phases. The result obtained at the farm scale will be upscaled through mathematical procedure to irrigation district scales to support water managers and decision makers. An evaluation will be done also on the food security and safety of products adopting the different irrigation solutions, and not only the water saving potential, but the overall sustainability of rice crop with the different irrigation solution will be evaluated, taking into account economic and social and environmental aspects. All these activities will be conducted together with the stakeholder panels. Expected impact: to inject tailored and updated knowledge to improve the sustainability of rice production in the Mediterranean. In particular, improve communication and cooperation among key actors in the rice sector inside countries, but also across countries. Develop innovative, local tailored on-farm irrigation solution, also with private companies, and providing best practice document to support effective implementation. To build a new computing framework to upscale on-farm result to irrigation district scale, also in situations in which data are limited. To assess the sustainability of agricultural areas, rice cropping, adopting innovative irrigation solution, especially in Egypt, in connection with food security, because rice is the second staple food in Egypt, and to build an original suite of indicators to assess the overall sustainability of rice ecosystem when different irrigation options are implemented.
Thank you very much, Ariana, among other things, because you respected very well the time. Let me call Maria Fernanda Ortuño from PRIMA-MED, Precision Irrigation Management to improve water use efficiency in the Mediterranean. And there are two teams from Spain, one from Algeria, one from Greece, and one from Tunisia. Maria Fernanda.
Thank you. As I said Octavi, I'm Maria Fernanda Ortuño from CEBAS, CSIC, in Spain, and I'm the coordinator of the PRIMA-MED project. PRIMA-MED belongs to Section 2. The topic of the call is irrigation technologies and practices. The budget of PRIMA-MED is around 810,000 euros, and the duration of this project is 36 months. The project starting date will be the 1st of October of this year. The consortium is composed from three entities from 2 European countries, Spain and Greece, and 2 entities from 2 African countries, Tunisia and Algeria. Well, in recent years, some problems like water quality degradation, soil salinization process, or demographic imbalances between urban and rural areas has become relevant in the Mediterranean region, where agriculture is one of the most dynamic and productive sectors, but also is one of the most vulnerable to water scarcity. In this sense, there is a need to look for new technologies that increase water use efficiency. For that, the main objective of PRIMA-MED will be the development, validation, and transfer of a data-driven irrigation management system in order to improve water and nutrient use efficiency in the Mediterranean region by integrating the knowledge about fertilizers and irrigation water management with information communication technologies, which will be respectful with the environment and socioeconomically profitable. The solution provided by PRIMA-MED will be a system that includes cloud technologies with cyber-physical systems and big data analysis which will send to the farmer recommendations in real time about fertilizers and irrigation management. The main impact foreseen by PRIMA-MED is to improve the farm productivity through the reduction of cost and the increase of the crop yield with a solution that minimizes the environmental impact due to the sustainable use of resources and reduce the human laborious tasks while feasible business models are generated for the different farming scenarios. As I said previously, PRIMA-MED will allow the consortium to reach a useful system tested and validated by supporting farmers in the different participating countries. And of course, PRIMA-MED will also create stronger bridges between the two shores of the Mediterranean basin that include European and non-European countries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maria Fernanda. Sandra Perez? She's not here? Okay. We skip it and we go to sustained cost. Georgios Karatzas. Georgios Karatzas is not here either? Yes. Good. So this is sustainable coastal groundwater management and pollution reduction through innovative governance in a climate change. He is from the Technical University of Crete, and besides Greece, there is Germany, France, 2 teams from France, 1 from Italy, Tunisia, and Turkey. Please.
Actually, we are 6 countries: France, Germany, Italy, Tunisia, Greece, and Turkey.
Can you use the microphone?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And Greece is the coordinator. So we have the coordination of the Technical University of Crete. And actually, the project is focused on 4 case studies: 1 in Arboria, Italy, Wadi El Bey in Tunisia, Maya in Greece, and Erdemli in Turkey. The innovative water governance is the main objective of the project, and actually consists of 4 pillars. Pillar 1 is strengthening of desirable coastal water resources management options. Pillar 2 is prevention of coastal groundwater against pollution. Pillar 3, active engagement of the concerned stakeholders in the social learning process. And here we put a special emphasis on that. And Pillar 4 is the reinforcement of monitoring, communication, and dissemination of the activities. And as we mentioned, participatory approach and stakeholder engagement and living labs are one of the main objectives of the project. The project consists actually from 6 work packages. The first work package, the coordination is from Greece. The second work package, integrated monitoring, modeling, and wastewater reuse, is from CERTE, Tunisia. Socioeconomic assessments from Italy. Innovative government from Italy. And socioeconomic assessments are from Germany. Innovative governments are from Italy, and decision supporting system from Turkey, and dimension of and communications strategies from the French partner. Actually, this is the main concept with the having the 4 field sites, the 3 work packages, 2, 3, and 4, which are related to socioeconomic analysis and integrated management and government. Actually, these are going to feed the work package 5, which is the decision support system, and then the rest is going to the dissemination. Everything is under the contribution to the MED governance, and everything under the umbrella of the project management. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I must say that I'm very impressed because everybody is very respectful for the time. May I ask Serge Chiron, who is representing INVAD? In what? Because Sandra Perez is not here. Okay, don't worry.
So good morning. So I'm Serge Chiron, and actually I'm replacing Sandra Perez from the CSIC in Barcelona, who is the real coordinator of this project, but she was not available to travel to Montpellier these days. So the INWAT project deals with the management of intermittent rivers in Mediterranean areas with associated groundwater bodies, with a specific focus on water quality. This project involved 4 countries from the northern shore of the Mediterranean Sea and 3 countries of the southern shore, even those we still don't know today if the Jordanian partner will be founded at the end. So this project started on July the 1st for a period of 36 months and with an indicated budget of nearly 2 million euros. Objectives now. So this project is organized in 5 technical work packages and 1 management work package. So 3 work packages are dedicated for data collections in hydrology, in ecology, and waterborne contaminants in 5 different watershed or in the Mediterranean areas, including intermittent rivers. Then environmental chemists mainly will investigate natural attenuation processes of contaminants in intermittent rivers. Hydrologists will focus on the development of innovative modeling, hydrological modeling tools. And in ecology, the main objective is the development or maybe the refinement of biological indicators and biomonitoring programs. So all this experimental data will be integrated in the decision support systems, which be co-developed with stakeholders from different socio-environmental settings and from both shores of the Mediterranean Sea. Then 1 work package is dedicated to capacity building and mobility. Then expected impact. So the INWAT project will design and apply, let's say, modeling routines in hydrology, ecology, and pollutions in order to support water managers to take right decisions. Then on the basis of better knowledge of pollution sources or pollution attenuation, anthropogenic activities and different water management policies, mitigation measures of pollutions will be proposed. And finally, measure to limit the risk of saline intrusion in overexploited groundwaters are also expected in this project. So thank you.
Thank you. May I call Nicola Montaldo, please? He's the coordinator for SWATCH, Strategies for Increasing the Water Use Efficiency of Semi-Arid Mediterranean Watersheds and agro-silvopastoral systems under climate change. Please, the floor is yours.
Okay. Okay, so my name is Nicola Montaldo. The project, we have several partners from Algeria, Cyprus, Egypt, Spain, France, and Tunisia. Is in section 2. We have also some partners that are mainly water authority. So they are not funded by PRIMA, but they co-fund the project. This is a good thing for the interest of the project. I am Nicola. I come from Sardinia, which is the island in the center of one of the islands in the center of Mediterranean Sea basin, and the motivation of this project is you see some data from my island, from Sardinia, and the motivation is that what we saw in our island, we have a good database, I have to say, about rain and runoff discharge. You can see data from 1922, so we are talking about almost 100 of years. No? And you see these three graphs on the left, where you see the yearly runoff. And you can see that all the basins are showing a big decrease, a decrease trend clear. So the problem in our island, where we don't have too much water, is that the water is decreasing. It's decreasing for agriculture, it's decreasing for industry, it's decreasing for environment, it's decreasing also, I have to say, also for drinking water. So we have problem also in the main city. So the main goal, here I don't talk about all these graphics, clearly are some trend, some statistic analysis, but the goal clearly is that this is a problem of Mediterranean area. And some climate change model are predicting more decrease. So what will be the future for water resources and the impact? And the objective of this project are clearly to understand what will be the future for water resources, but we make a first big object about evapotranspiration, because in this condition evapotranspiration is the main term of the soil-water balance, of the water balance. So we try to develop and implement innovative methodology for evapotranspiration measurement. A big part, which is very something that we have to do, is to try to make a network, a river monitoring network system for all this country, make a lot of, I will say here, yes. Our idea is to try, you see in the Mediterranean area, all the sites that we have, and in the color map, you see the mean annual rain. So our goal is to try in all this country, in all this site, to put all the instruments, most of this instrument that we can. For instance, we use a decovariance tower. Clearly in some sites we have already this tower. In other we will put. We want to use remote sensing. We want to use all the innovative methodology to try to have a very big transnational Mediterranean river monitoring network. And the most exciting thing is that you can see the rain, how changed in the Mediterranean area. You have from France, we are here, we have almost 800, 900 millimeters of rain per year. Instead, we arrive to Egypt, where we have less than 100. So the idea that exciting is that we have a big gradient of rain, and we want to see how it works, or how we can manage all these things. So we want to develop data assimilation system for assimilating remotely sensed and field data, identify the impact of contrasting vegetation and crop type on the soil-water balance, surface runoff and water use. Then, second part will be to predict the future. Predict the future, we will predict the impact of future climate scenario on soil-water balance, runoff and water use, and then develop a set of land cover change strategy for climate change scenario, trying to optimize the use of water resources, and to improve the multipurpose and multi-user water resource management and planning system. For this reason, clearly the water authority, they are involved because they will be the final final authority that will manage the water resource management. Okay, so I finished just with the impact to clearly increase the efficiency of Mediterranean water resources, innovate the approach for water resource planning management for both current and future climate change scenario. I have to say also very important for me is the strong international cooperation, because we will have Southern European partners that will collaborate with North African partner, provide a very good opportunity for knowledge and experience change. Okay.
Thank you very much. May I ask Frédéric Jacob for Altos managing water resources within Mediterranean agrosystems by accounting for spatial structures and connectivities.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I'm pleased to present the Altos project that aim to improve the management of water resources within our Mediterranean agrosystems by accounting for spatial structures and connectivities. The project is coordinated by IRD in France, and it involves 11 partners from Lebanon, Morocco, Tunisia, Spain, and Italy. The objective is rethinking water management strategies. Agrosystems are typified by infrastructures and practices that provide several services. Infrastructures and practices aims to use soil and water resources along with the support of chemical inputs. The resulting services include agriculture and water production, among others. Then the idea is to modulate infrastructures and practices in order to set up trade-offs between different services. In this context, Altos focuses on the following spatial structures: land use, including composition and configuration, agroecological infrastructures such as ponds, including geometry and densities, and agricultural practices such as irrigation with spatial modulation. All these spatial infrastructures are intertwined with hydrological connectivities, both surface and subsurface. The methodological framework is the following. The first stage consists of monitoring and modeling spatial structures and connectivities. A second stage consists of monitoring and modeling matter fluxes and storages within different compartments, for instance, root zone or aquifers. Then, third and fourth stage focus on setting scenarios for spatial structures and quantifying by simulation the resulting impacts on matter fluxes and storages. Across all these activities, a work package is dedicated to the pooling of data and method across the Mediterranean consortium. Project activities rely on 6 study areas across the Mediterranean basin. 2 study areas are located on the northern shore, and they are devoted to methodological development. 4 study areas are located on the southern shore, and they are devoted to integrated analysis. These 4 study areas on the southern shore are typified by hydrological upstream-downstream transects along with ecosystem gradients. The strategy for strengthening project impact is the following. On the one hand, we identify a panel of actors within the professional sphere. For instance, resource manager or engineering offices. On the other hand, we identify a panel of project outcomes, for instance, monitoring protocol or simulation tools. Then the idea is to conduct a panel of activity that aim to strengthen capabilities for observation, data processing and simulation, as well as providing rationale and knowledge for decision system and recommendation by resource manager. Thanks for your attention.
May I ask Nico Goldscheider, please, for the project Karma, Karst Aquifer Resources Availability and Quality in the Mediterranean. With such an inspiring name.
So, good morning, everyone. So I'm not Nico Goldscheider, I'm Hervé Jourde from the University of Montpellier. My colleague was not able to come. So we'll speak about this project, which is dedicated to karst aquifer resources, availability and quality in the Mediterranean area. This project is made of a consortium of 4 universities and 3 institutes with a budget of 1.5 million euro and a starting date which is not written here, but which is 1st of September. So if you look at this map, you can see in blue all the carbonates area, and you can observe that more than 20%, 25% of the Mediterranean area is made of these carbonate rocks, where you have groundwater resource in such karst aquifer. So this project is based on 5 test sites on karst catchment, where we do have some monitoring on springs. This test site corresponds to the red dots on these figures, with the lake spring located north of Montpellier, the site in Lebanon, in Rome, Tunis, and Malaga. It will not take too much time. The important thing to know is that most of cities are, the water supply is coming from this type of water resource, such as Rome or Beirut, and also Montpellier I was just speaking about. So what are the main objectives of this project? So it's first to accomplish a detailed mapping of these groundwater resources with such enough information, and to study the groundwater resources as various scales, from the spring scales to the aquifer scales and to the Mediterranean area scales, to provide a database to the stakeholders in which they will find information about recharge, groundwater vulnerability, and groundwater-dependent ecosystem. For example, in our area at the lake spring, we have a very small fish called the chabot du lez, which is totally dependent of the groundwater resource from the karst. On the 5 karst system, we will make many experiments to better assess the vulnerability, but also the transport processes and transfer with new generic models, so either distributed or lumped parameter model. And at the end is to provide a novel early warning system, especially for microbial and chemical contamination at the springs. So you can see here what is more dedicated to the Mediterranean area, like food water storage at both scales, vulnerability mapping, towards what is just at the springs. So what are the expected impacts? So the expected impacts is to provide information, as I said before, for a better water resource management in this area, and especially for stakeholders and government for the management of transboundary resources. Also work on new modeling tools to better predict the impact of climate change, but also the impact of forcing, such as groundwater pumping increasement, and improved management decisions. Finally, the last objective is to identify short-term contamination events and long-term water quality trends at springs based on a continuous monitoring at the springs. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you. May I call Evangelos Ziritis, please, for MEDSAL, which is salinization of critical groundwater reserves in coastal Mediterranean areas, identification, risk assessment, and sustainable management with the use of integrated modeling and smart ICT tools.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Well, our project MEDSA regards the salinization of critical groundwater reserves in the Mediterranean in coastal aquifers. And we will try to identify and assess the salinization sources with an integrated use of modeling and smart ICT tools. The partnership is consisted of 9 partners coming from 7 different Mediterranean countries. This section is of the topic is the multi-topic section 2, with a total budget of 1.39 million euros and duration of 36 months. The coordinator is the Soil and Water Resources Institute of the Hellenic Agriculture Organization. The main objective of our project is to develop an integrated framework for the monitoring, the protection, and the management of coastal aquifers of the Mediterranean, which are subjected to increased salinization risk, either due to overexploitation or to climatic and non-climatic stresses. To do so, we propose the development of an integrated framework, the MEDCEL framework, which will fuse different tools and models in order to identify groundwater salinization sources, either individual or multi-sourced, and decipher, of course, the governing processes, to forecast the spatial and temporal evolution of the primary salinization sources and the secondary salinization sources, the post-induced contamination, and of course trying to evaluate and assess their cascading effects and impacts, to perform a thorough risk assessment under variable climatic projections and stresses, and finally, and this is a main target, to develop a public WebGIS observatory for the Mediterranean, for coastal aquifers of the Mediterranean, that will support the monitoring, alerting, and the management of coastal groundwater systems. This is a rough outline of our methodological approach. You can see at the left figure the streamline of the work packages. MEDCEL is consisted of 8 work packages, which includes research, pilot, and demonstration actions. For this purpose, we have pre-identified 6 pilot MEDCEL test sites across the Mediterranean, located in Greece, 2 test sites, in Turkey, in Italy, Tunisia, and Algeria. These test sites are characterized by different hydrogeological conditions, including also karstic aquifers and porous aquifers, different specificities regarding the physical environment of the area. So we're trying to include the entire setup of hydrogeological diversions. And to these specific pilot sites, we will apply our core research tools, which are the classic hydrogeochemical tools, the environmental isotopes, and the different techniques which are based on environmental isotopes, the modeling, which includes hydrogeological modeling and hydrogeochemical modeling, either as standalone tools or as combined tools, the application of advanced geostatistics, which will support the aforementioned modeling, and of course, we have, last but not least, the deep learning techniques, which will be used to support the identification of any latent patterns for salinization which cannot be identified by other conventional methods. As main outcomes, we have, of course, the salinization, new salinization proxies and the simulation of forecasting of groundwater salinization. And what we aspire as expected impacts is, of course, to develop novel integrated approaches, either as tools, either as new proxies for salinization, especially for data, for areas with scarce data or for different environments, as karstic environments, or models that will be used for the accurate, swift assessment and more efficient management of groundwater risk in Mediterranean. And of course, this will substantially help to secure the availability and quality of groundwater reserves in the Mediterranean areas, the specific pilot sites that we use, which is a hot topic for PRIMA project, and of course, enhance the resilience and adaptation to climate change stresses and impacts.
Thank you very much. May I call for the SWAP Eddie Citrin, please, for decision support-based approach for sustainable water reuse application in agricultural production.
Hi. I'll try to do this in 2.5 minutes. Good morning, everyone. My name is Daniel. Eddie couldn't be here today. I'm from the Agriculture Research Organization in Israel, and we'll be coordinating the project. Can you guys hear me? Yeah? Okay, sorry, I can't tell if... So together with our partners from Portugal, Spain, France, Germany, Italy, and Cyprus, for the next 3 years, we'll be working on developing a decision support-based approach for sustainable water reuse application in agriculture production. And our main objective is to develop flexible, affordable, and sustainable wastewater treatment technologies, specifically designed for crop irrigation. And what this means is that we'll be able to control the level of nutrients, for example, in the treated wastewater, while also removing harmful pathogens and viruses and other unwanted parameters such as salinity, antibiotic-resistant genes, and contaminants of emerging concern, which are a range of chemicals, including those found at home, like personal care products and pharmaceuticals. So our approach to this end is to first diagnose the quality of effluents and the quality of soils and crops treated with treated wastewater versus fresh water. And we'll be doing this in 3 main sites, one in Israel, one in Spain, and one in Cyprus. Next, we'll concurrently optimize energy-efficient secondary modules specifically for crop irrigation, and also develop post-secondary treatment for pathogens removal and also antibiotic-resistant genes and contaminants of emerging concern, and salinity. Finally, all these modules will be combined into a decision support tool, which monitors the situation in the field and will optimize the system according to what's needed. And we expect, well, the first major impact that we expect from this project is to shift from the standard model where we're dumping effluents into the aquatic bodies to one where we're using this, this resource in a more beneficial way while maintaining public health and environmental health. And we also expect to provide holistic understanding of potential public health, environmental, and economic effects of crop irrigation with treated wastewater, and also to combat global water shortages while maintaining food security. And that's 2.5 minutes. Thank you very much. Good luck to everybody.
Fit for reuse. May I ask Attilio Toscano for these projects, safe and sustainable solutions for the integrated reuse of non-conventional water resources in the Mediterranean. So
Thank you.
please.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Attilio Toscano. I'm the coordinator of Fit for Reuse project. Fit for Reuse is a project with 7 countries and nine partners from Italy, Spain, France, Greece, Israel, Tunisia, and Turkey. The main objective of this project are related to the development and optimization of innovative solutions for municipal wastewater treatment to be reused in agriculture, but also the development of different irrigation technologies to prevent negative effect of water resources in agriculture, as well as innovative process for aquifer recharge. At the end, we would like to provide some useful guidelines for all these aspects, but maybe it's more clear if you look at this overall approach of the project. We divided the project in 3 main pillars. The innovation pillar, where all the innovative solutions will be developed and tested at lab and pilot scale. This technology will integrate innovative and intensive solution for wastewater treatment together with a natural-based solution. This is the main goal, also to treat brine from desalination plant. This is a possible scheme of the integration of the technology that will be used in the project. The second pillar will be related to the application of these technologies into the field. Into the field means with the irrigation plant as well as with aquifer recharge and the soil aquifer treatment plant at pilot scale. And the third pillar is related to the increase of public acceptance of the reuse of unconventional water resources that are one of the main barriers, as you know, for the increase of the water reuse sector. And in this pillar, we will develop a multi-stakeholder platform and the engagement of all the main stakeholders in the Mediterranean basin as is foreseen. The impact of the project is quite ambitious because we try to explore all the topic almost all the topic that the call requests. And the idea is to use experimentation phase, so prototypes, the extrapolation and replication phase with a simulation platform, a validation phase, so the guidelines we would like to propose at the end of the project, and also all the exploitation and dissemination and communication activities to increase, on one end, the public acceptance, and on the other end, to propose a business plan for the innovative solution we would like to test, to go beyond the end of the project for a market upscale. This is possible, this should be possible also because this project is clearly linked with the three main Horizon 2020 projects that are ongoing, that are SWAMP, Idrusa, and Smart Plant, that are projects dealing with precise irrigation, with intensive wastewater treatment plant solution and nature-based solution. All the coordinators are on board on this Fit for Use project. So we should try to have a clear impact on all the stakeholders, agricultural farmers, and so on. Thank you very much.
Thank you. May I call Antonio Scarmetta, please, to present WaterMed?
No. Good morning, everyone. My name is Miguel Ángel, and I am in representation of Antonio to present our project. WaterMed 4.0, it's a project composed for different countries in the Mediterranean area. We have different companies and public institutions in Spain, in Algeria, Germany, and Turkey. The budget is about 1,700,000 euros, and it lasts about 36 months. The main objective of this project is the development of an integrated decision support system. I mean a platform, an IoT platform that you can see in this snapshot in the right hand, where we are in charge of manage the whole water cycle with the different water resources, conventional and not conventional, and including demand, and we studied not only the technical issue, but also the economical, energy, social, and governance factors that influence in the water use in this region of in the Mediterranean area. Inside this framework, we have several objectives. First of all is implementation of the different technologies that we are used in previous project with the different partners, and the idea here is to apply this in the field of reclaimed water and the reuse of water. The second objective is study and develop new communication protocols and sensors technologies inside this and apply to this field of application, in this case the water management and distribution. They improve the agricultural productivity in the sense that minimizing the use of fertilizer and water, of course. Analyze the potential of photovoltaic applications in agriculture, related to the reduction of irrigation. And finally, and not less important, the socio-economic studies in the, to improve water governments in the Mediterranean partner countries. The expected impacts are mainly increase the efficiency of the management of conventional and not conventional water resources in the field of agriculture. Evaluate the impact of the different technologies in social engagement, governance, etc. Validation of these IoT solutions, IoT-based solution through our platform. Real-time monitoring of water resources, water demand, and all the actors that involved in the whole water cycle, from the high waters to the users, and finally contributing to the impact of PRIMA program in the sense of in the topic of water governance, water saving solution, and then on water sustainability. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Before the coffee break, I'll give the floor to Mohammed, who has a message.
As I was always saying that it's co-ownership. So as I'm the co-chair, I'm always texting the chair of the PRIMA Foundation, Professor Angelo Riccaboni, and he's sending his best regards from Italy, because this is the spirit of PRIMA, that we are always cooperating and talking to each other. So in behalf of Angelo Riccaboni, I will just quote one word that Angelo is saying: the large participation of researchers from across the Mediterranean in the PRIMA Calls for Proposal 2018 proves the very promising start of the initiative and confirms the relevance of such partnership in enhancing the alignment of national and regional research and fostering the adoption of sustainable solutions also in the frame of Agenda 2030. Special thank to all the 19 states representing the European Commission and those that have worked so intensely to achieve such remarkable results. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The coffee break is upstairs and will start at 45 sharp. I'm sorry, but otherwise we'll not make it for everyone.
Just a small announcement. Please, the coordinator of the project of PRIMA, if you can go to the desk, just 1 minute, and we will give you the booklet.
Hauríem de decidir, tu i l'Omar, amb quin criteri donem als participants de l'INMED, que plan tenim per bastant, pels coordinadors de...
Doncs els d'INMED que siguin aquí, que resisteixin. Perquè no crec que hi hagi gaires... No en veig gaires, però...
Just before replacing Carla Churno.
Yes. Very good. Okay, no problem. On són els buclets?
Perfect. Thank you. C'est clair qu'il y aurait besoin de faire du clustering de projets. Il y a plusieurs projets qui travaillent sur la salinité, plusieurs projets qui travaillent sur les modèles, plusieurs projets qui travaillent sur les modèles. Ils arrivent à sortir de leur chapeau du projet, tu vois, et à partager peut-être après un an.
Oui, parce que...
Après, il faut qu'ils démarrent.
Et ça serait bien qu'il y ait aussi avec Arimed, parce qu'il y a des projets d'Arimed, c'est sûr que...
Ou sur l'eau, il y a des sujets sur Arimed.
Mais oui, ça fait du sens, même si c'est pas facile à gérer. Hein.
Il faut après impliqué, je sais pas, le scientific officer qui suit l'eau, qui l'anime effectivement.
Oui, mais comment le faire pratiquement? Donc de vous connecter, alors d'essayer de,
Non,
par exemple, de se
dans
rencontrer.
les knowledge hubs, c'est ce qu'on fait, c'est on met tous les PI des différents projets, tous les 6 mois en fait. Et ils disent ce qu'ils ont fait, et puis ils prennent les modèles de l'un, ils utilisent les modèles de l'autre, ils les comparent, etc. Et il y en a plusieurs qui proposent des outils de décision, d'aide à la décision, des GIS, intéressant, mais...
Are you going to put the presentation that you had on the internet, or are you going?
If you want it, yes, I can. I have no problem. Yeah,
Okay.
Or I can put it in the web.
Or someday or send it to the participants. Actually, we started last week. We did our kickoff meeting. Even if the Greek authorities, they didn't send us anything yet. I'm not talking about money. Even the letter, you know, the formal letter that we're going to have the project. But we did the kickoff.
Which is very good.
And we have the consortium agreement and everything.
Soc la Teorecat. Hola. Sé que havia parlat amb el Joan en el seu moment.
Bueno, jo he parlat ara almenys amb els cavalls de dalt de tot. I hi ha una iniciativa
Operatiu, no? No, això no, però és això, fins hi ha un diguem de dos penes o no sé qui, de si sí o si no. Nosaltres hem signat l'acord de consorci, perquè ens requeria sobretot Itàlia i no sé si Portugal, una cosa així. O sigui que de moment aquest el tenim signat. I la idea és nosaltres sí que hem estat jugant el consorci que està darrere, que està mirant, i quan intentem veníem avui a presentar-nos superencantats i això.
Jo us ho diré, intentarem totes les
I mean, it's not so easy.
Quando?
Alla fine?
Sì, sì, dopo.
Una fase di foto.
Benissimo. Giovanni, puoi aiutare a dire di... Grazie. Fabrice. Ramasse, non. Fais comme un berger, mais tu emmènes les brebis. Ah, d'accord. D'accord, merci. Adapt heard. May I call, please, Laurence Puyer for Adapt heard?
Good morning, everyone. So I'm very pleased to be the coordinator of AdaptHeard. We have partners from France, Egypt, Spain, and Tunisia, and we will start this September for a duration of 4 years. The overall aim of AdaptHeard is to develop simulation tools and use this tool to implement and design strategies that will improve the resilience and efficiency of small ruminant herds based on their adaptive capacities. Beside this general objective, we have some more focused scientific objectives. The first one is to provide knowledge on adaptive capacities, so quantify those capacities. Also provide proxy measures that will facilitate phenotyping in the field. Second scientific objective of the project is to develop prediction models to predict resilience and efficiency at the herd level. And we will use the simulation tool to explore the relationship between resilience and efficiency and see if some trade-offs or synergy may appear among those properties under different climate change scenarios. We also have more applied objective with the project to find technical solution to manage the herd and to improve resilience and efficiency, and also to develop tools for decision support and to facilitate knowledge exchange. A key assumption of our project is that small ruminants have unique biological aptitudes to cope with fluctuation in feed resource. And we believe that we can fully integrate those capacities within management strategy. So, for instance, we can manage reproduction within the herd to find the best match between the herd supply, the herd demand on one side, and the resource supply on the other side. How we intend to do to do that. We want to combine information at different levels. So at the animal level, we will have fine-grained experiments, and we will also have field phenotyping. And we will combine those information at the animal level with information at the herd level, which are management practices, resource dynamics, and more global environments such as market condition. As you can see on this global scheme, we will integrate all those data within simulation tool to study the relation between resilience and efficiency. Expected impact of the project: providing scientific knowledge on animal resilience, especially for the local breeds in the Mediterranean area. So for instance, we want to understand how we can improve the production of animals without degrading the longevity of those animals and their capacity to cope with variation in resource. Of course, we also expect to improve the ability of Mediterranean sheep and goat system to adapt to climate change. And this impact is linked to the practical solution that we may find to optimize production and resilience of the system. And finally, we hope that the tool we will develop will help to enhance the innovative capacity within the Mediterranean area, and that the first tool we will develop can be further extended to other Mediterranean partners. And thanks for your attention.
May I call Daniele Bassi from Free Climb.
So, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Daniele Bassi from University of Milano. Our Free Climb project is under the section 2 on the topic adaptation of agriculture to climate change, and we are focusing on fruit tree crops on the Mediterranean basis. And we are stressing the resilience to climate change, and particularly on water shortage and heat stress on fruit tree crops. We are dealing with the main fruit tree crops of the Mediterranean area, that is citrus, olive, table grapes, peaches, and apricots. The countries interested are, other than Italy, Algeria, Egypt, Spain, France, Greece, Morocco, Tunisia, and Turkey. That is almost all the important Mediterranean countries involved on fruit crops. Here in the three green box, we are seeing the main work packages. We will be working on, first of all, characterizing from the phenotypic point of view the main genetic resources in the Mediterranean area. The second work package will be on the genetic understanding of the main traits related to resilience. And the third work package will be on the development of breeding methods based on genomic tools in order to develop new variability in order to cope with resilience. And the work package 4 is the work package that crosses all the other work packages, since it is devoted to communication, dissemination, training, because the final aim of the project is to the good of the growers of the Mediterranean area. And the expected inputs are, first, to understand what are the major traits that can be controlled by genetic and genomic tools, to develop, as I said, new varieties, and to disseminate these varieties to the final users. We understand that since is a quite ambitious project, is 2.7 million euros on 3 years only, and from a perennial species like fruit tree crops is quite an ambitious goal, but we are confident that since this large audience of partners, we can develop or pave the basis for even future development. Thank you.
Thank you very much. May I call Agostino Fricano, who will present Gendibar.
Morning. So I'm Alessandro Tondelli. I'm from the same CREA Institute as the coordinator, Agostino Fricano. And you can see here the partnership of Gendibar. Gendibar stands for Utilization of Local Genetic Diversity to Understand and Exploit Barley Adaptation to Harsh Environments and for for pre-breeding. In fact, the main objective of Gendibar, that is quite ambitious, is to adapt barley farming to climate change in the Mediterranean area. So in order to reach this goal, we have proposed these tasks. So first of all, we will assemble a collection of around 1,000 geo-referenced barley landraces from the Mediterranean basin, mainly landraces that are hosted in the gene bank of ICARDA. Then we are going to sequence these landraces, and we are going to associate the molecular variation to the meta variable that have been collected from the sampling site in order to identify genomic signature of barley adaptation to contrasting environments. Then we will focus on some important traits for biotic and abiotic resistance, and most important, the response of barley to heat waves, so heat tolerance, both at the morphological and the physiological level. We will pass all this data to crop modelers that will build and design new barley hydrotype and new barley farming system for the Mediterranean area. And then we also will pass all these tools and methods and materials to breeders. We have a couple of breeding companies in the partnership, and they will try to use this knowledge into efficient pre-breeding solutions. So as for the impact, I will say that the first big impact is a legacy collection of barley landraces that can be passed to the barley community in the Mediterranean area. That is quite important. And this collection will be genotyped and phenotyped, and that is freely available for everyone. This is a really valorization of natural resources that are hosted now in the gene banks. And we have also some innovation capability. In particular, we are giving more insight into abiotic stress resistance, in particular heat wave resistance to heat waves. And we are proposing new barley hydrotypes and new farming system in order to adapt barley to the Mediterranean area. Thank you.
Thank you very much. May I call Carla Cioloni to present Impresa? Ah, okay, yes, sorry. I realized, yeah, you told me.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Roberto Ruggeri from University of Tuscia. And today I'm replacing Carla Cioloni, the coordinator of our project, who unfortunately can't attend the meeting today because for health issues. So let's briefly present the project. The acronym Impresa means improving resilience to abiotic stresses in durum wheat. Coordinator is University of Tuscia, and partners are other universities and research agencies from other countries, specifically 2 from Algeria, 1 from Tunisia, 1 from Turkey, and another one from Italy. Why durum wheat? Because it is a staple crop for millions of people around the world, and it has a great economic impact in the Mediterranean area. The rationale behind the project is that the natural diversity of many crops, including durum wheat, has been depleted by breeding almost exclusively for high yield in favorable environments and with high external inputs, thus making cultivars vulnerable to abiotic stresses such as drought, heat, and salinity. A profitable and sustainable way to face this problem is to widen durum wheat genetic basis by resorting to wild wheat relatives tolerant to such stresses. To do this, we will use locally adapted varieties and a unique genetic material we have already introgressed with wild genes. Extensive trials will be carried on in each country to test genotypes, both in open field and under controlled environments. Overall impact will be to enhance knowledge of the way durum wheat and its wild relatives interact with the environment and to improve breeding strategies in the Mediterranean area. I have no time to describe the specific impacts, but you can read them in this slide. So 3 minutes are over, and I have no time but to say all of you thanks for your kind attention.
Thank you very much. May I ask Andrea Schubert to present Veg Adapt?
Here I am. I'm Andrea Schubert, and I'm the coordinator of Veg Adapt, where Veg stands for vegetables. We are the last project in this list, covering with the other projects many areas of agriculture as concerns its adaptation and the adaptation of these crops to climate change-induced stress. Veg Adapt is a relatively big project, so we have 13 participants belonging to 8 countries in the northern and southern Mediterranean shores. The aim of this project is to work on vegetable crops, and these vegetable crops are tomato, melon, and pepper. We chose these crops because they are very widely grown and cultivated in the Mediterranean, and not only in the Mediterranean. They are good representatives also of other crops, and the results obtained in these crops can be somehow translated also to other crops in the vegetable sector. We focused on 2 stresses, basically water shortage. Water shortage is, of course, an important consequence of climate change-induced modifications of climate change, as it induces not only loss of water, but also salinization of water in protected systems. And the other stress is heat, which is very often paired and goes together with water shortage. We are following our main goals, which you can see there by different work packages. So first, we are working on, let's say, genotypes, and we have also in this project a wide selection of genotypes, mostly Mediterranean genotypes. We are looking after the variability and diversity within Mediterranean genotypes of these crops to look for resilience traits, basically. We also have a work package on let's say, genetics or breeding. This is more something connected to setting up tools for breeding, particularly exploring segregant populations and looking for QTLs and working on integration lines with the resistant and resilient genotypes. This will be performed also by private breeders. We have 2 breeders in our company, in our group. We have a second important objective, which is the study of the biological determinants of the resilience. This is, of course, important for all crops, but in the case of vegetable crops, they can be a bit different than in other crops. We will go after that with genomic tools, of course, but also with specific tools working on some specific classes of substances which are known to be important in model crops for resilience, like hormones, and in particular astrigolactones, which are another class of hormones. And we will also work at the farm adaptation side. Our main impact, as you will see later, is to impact on the farm community. So we have our package where some techniques for improving resilience to these stresses will be tested, in particular working on the use of root stocks and to the use of biostimulants and amendments, soil amendments. We will this way reach, hopefully, our impacts. We have many impacts, we want to have many impacts. This is a wide project. I would say that the main impact we are looking for is on farmers, and we will follow this also by demonstration activities with farmer organizations which are part of the project, by producing guidelines for farmers. We will try to impact on researchers by publications, of course, but also with capacity buildings. We have several initiatives which are planned for young researchers in particular, and for exchange of researchers. We will also work on the economical aspects and environmental aspects of our innovations, studying that at the economic point of view. Also, on the social point of view, we have a social case. We have a study case in Morocco, and also producing business plans for the uptake that will ease the uptake of innovation. And then, of course, we also hope to impact on policy making and regulations, which are very, very different in different countries in the Mediterranean. So we are quite ambitious, but I'm confident we will reach all or most of our goals. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me call Alberto Pardossi. By the way, SIMTAP is the only project we have on developing farming systems able to generate income, create employment, and contribute to a balanced territorial development. This is the only project, so...
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning to everyone. Together with Carlo Bibbiani, who is in the audience, I will have the role of the coordinator of this project. For 8 different partners from 5 countries. We receive about 1 million euros, which is around 60% of the total project budget. The project started just at the beginning of this month, and the project kickoff meeting will take place next week. You see from the title that the project focuses on aquaponic system. The main subject is marine aquaculture. The demand of seafood is rapidly increasing and cannot be matched by fisheries. So aquaculture is expected to play an important role in the production of seafood. Unfortunately, aquaculture has many drawbacks, especially from the environmental point of view, which is generally due to the production of feed ingredients, especially fish meals and fish oil. And there is also risk for the disposal of the transmission of diseases, the disposal of farm effluents, the dispersal of non-native species, and of course, important impact on the habitats. The goals of SIMTAP is to develop an innovative, self-sufficient, integrated, multi-trophic aquaponic system where the effluents from each compartment is a source for another compartment. The idea is to develop an environment-friendly marine fish and allophytic plants which are of interest for food industry, also for pharmaceutical industry. The main goal is to design and to set up and test in different contexts, in France, in Italy, in Malta, in Turkey, and this innovative food production system, which is an aquaponic system. The main components are photobioreactor, the fish production unit, the deposit and filter feeder, and the biofilter to transform ammonia from the fish effluents into nitrate. The main goal or the main impact expected from the project is to reduce the use of fish feed inputs and the associated environmental impacts. Thank you very much for your attention. I am ready to explain more about our project. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let me call Konstantinos Kassiotis for Plan B. Yes.
Hello, and from me, thanks for the opportunity to be here and present Plan B. Plan B, the title is a sustainable mixed cropping beekeeping system in the Mediterranean basin. The Plan B is coordinated by Benaki Phytopathological Institute, my institute, and it composes the consortium of 10 partners from 6 countries. There are institutes, universities, and 2 small-medium enterprises. It belongs to Section 1 Farming Systems, and the topic of the call was the improving the sustainability of the Mediterranean agroecosystems, and expecting date of start is the 15th of September. The main objectives of this project is, on the one hand, to provide new integrated pest management tools against crop and honeybees pests. The second point is also to valorize well-adapted endemic honeybee subspecies to Mediterranean conditions with potential of resistance to major honeybee pests. Of course, this has an individuality on some specific countries. It's not going to be applied to all countries of this consortium. A key pillar of our project is the establishment and development and optimization of this proposed farming system, which consists of citrus, crop, and the beekeeping activity. It's the main pillar of our project, and of course it will have several IPM tools that will be implemented, which of course regard the incorporation of aromatic and medicinal plants inside the citrus crops as an IPM tool, as I mentioned, both for honeybees and for the crop. Of course, all these activities and actions that will be implemented are aspired to improve the quality and safety and traceability of the honey product, since some gaps are identified, and we are trying to harmonize between the countries and provide a better product. And of course, to ascertain the environmental and the socioeconomic sustainability of the proposed new farming system. After the implementation, what is the impact? The impact, of course, is to improve all these resources management that we will have in this combo farming system that will have a mutual benefit for both sectors, both for the citrus crop and the beekeeping. Will stand, after all these IPM tools and all these activities that will be implemented in Plan B, we aim at low pesticide input that will be of benefit both for the citrus crop and the beehives. So an outcome of this will be the improvement of the economic return both for the farmers and for the beekeepers. We'll integrate new ecological, agronomical, and socio-economical knowledge, of course, with final aim an innovative, sustainable farming system. And we'll develop a sustainable use, as I mentioned before, for the genetic resources of some well-adapted honeybee races and ecotypes, fitting the actual needs of the beekeepers, based, of course, on the geographic individuality and, of course, the climatic context of each geographic region. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Alfonso Dominguez for Supermed, please.
Good morning, everybody. Well, I am Alfonso Dominguez from Castilla-La Mancha University, Spain. The title of our project is PRIMA-MED, Sustainable Production in Water-Limited Environments of Mediterranean Agroecosystems. In our projects are participating 10 different groups for 4 different countries, including Spain, France, Lebanon, Greece, and Tunisia. Well, the total budget is around 2 million, and for the duration is 3 years, and our project will start next 1st of October. Well, all of us know that we need to improve the efficiency in the natural resources and also the other productive means, mainly, for instance, water, mainly in a scenario of climate change and also global warming. Then the main objective of our project is to provide a holistic crop livestock water management system resilient to climate change that we will provide to end users like technicians and farmers. For doing this, what we are going to do is to develop that end user platform, which will include several models and tools, many of them developed by our groups. They are related with the optimal use of agricultural water, like irrigation scheduling, including regulated deficit irrigation. We are also including the use of photovoltaic energy in that kind of irrigation, remote sensing monitoring, climate conditions forecasting. Then one of the objectives of the project is to promote the use of regulated deficit irrigation not only in vineyards and fruit trees, but also in annual crops like cereals. We want to validate the platform in different sites in Lebanon, Spain, and Tunisia. And also we want to provide to end users with a set of good agricultural practices and management techniques, and also reports and data to the different policy makers in order to advise them in the development of national and regional policies. Then these are the impacts of our project: to reach the optimal design of farming systems in order to improve the profitability of the farms thanks to a better use of the resources and productive means, production means. Also to decrease the impact of agriculture in the environment. And, well, as I told you before, to advise policy managers in the development of national and regional strategies. Thank you very much.
Thank you. May I call Roberto García Ruiz to present the coordinator of Sustain Olive?
Good morning. The coordinator of Sustain Olive is the University of Jaén in South Spain, and 22 partners of 6 countries are involved in Sustain Olive: Spain, Greece, Italy, Morocco, Portugal, and Tunisia. I believe this is the project with the largest number of partners, which is going to be a challenge. But also, I believe this is the soul of PRIMA. And, this is under section 1, and the topic improving sustainability of the agroecosystem in the Mediterranean. It's a 2-point-something million euros, and will start, no, it has started 1st June and will last 48 months. The overall objective of Sustain Olive is to enhance the sustainability of the olive farming sector throughout the implementation and the promotions of different sets of sustainable technological solutions, which are based on agroecological concepts and methods, and on the active exchange and co-construction of knowledge among main actors of the olive oil sectors. Once we have identified this sustainable technological solution, which will be adapted to the great diversity in the olive oil cultivation in terms of pedoclimatic landscape, socioeconomic, the degree of technological knowledge conditions, we will set up a network of olive farms which will be under these sustainable technological solutions, and many ecosystem services. I only show here a few of them. Will be monitoring during 2-3 years of the project. In addition, Sustainolive will also search for solution for the olive meal byproducts, and these solutions will be adapted to the different typologies of olive mills across the 6 countries in the Mediterranean. This is some of the solution. It's only a few of them that have been shown here. I would like to point out that there will be many demonstrative and training events in Sustainolive. I forgot to mention that the partners include several universities and research centers, and also 9 olive oil farming associations across these countries. And the demonstration and training events will be managed by the Olive Oil Association. We expect impact because the critical mass of the Sustainolive as a consortium is high. We are talking about the Olive Farming Association control about 50,000 hectares of olive oil throughout the 6 countries. And also we are talking about that about 5,000 individual olive farmers are involved in this project. And among the expected impact, we expect to boost the low input cultivation of the olive oil, but at the same time with high productivity and a reduced environmental impact. We expect a more diversified olive oil cultivation, supporting many ecosystem services. And also, we will try to promote and to develop sustainable use of rare and new species, especially as a cover crop well adapted to the Mediterranean condition. Thank you very much.
May I ask Giovanni Savini to present PRIMA-MED?
No, he's not here.
He's not here. Well, good. Michel Peter-Schmidt, si peut présenter Michel Peter-Schmidt to present PRIMA-MED.
So, PRIMA-MED consortium consists of public institutions of 5 Mediterranean countries and 2 private companies, one from France and the other from Italy. Tomato and cucurbits are among the most important food crops in the Mediterranean. Diseases caused by Gemini viruses affect negatively the yield of these crops. Whiteflies and leafhoppers transmit these viruses and spread them all over countries and even the region. The objective. The first and second objective is to determine the distribution and prevalence of the various Gemini virus diseases. Unlike the whitefly insect, on which there are a lot of reports, the leafhopper insect vector was very rarely reported. That is why we also undertake to look for this leafhopper, to assess its prevalence and study its ecology. As the partner countries, as you can see, are at the 4 cardinal points of the Mediterranean region, we expect that the prevalence maps that will be generated by the consortium will be representative of the Mediterranean region. The third objective tackles the problem of Gemini virus outbreaks that occur from time to time in the Mediterranean. We aim to understand the outbreak phenomena based on the recently reported emergence of a recombinant Gemini virus in resistant tomato in Morocco. The fourth objective is to improve and design eco-friendly techniques to prevent Gemini virus diseases. The efficiency of various IPM techniques will be tested, and particularly their combinations. Plant accessions will be screened for resistance to Gemini virus, and the feasibility of a plant vaccination technique will be tested. The first and second expected products consist of up-to-date prevalence maps that are expected to be useful for plant protection services and technical institutes. They will be freely made available on websites like the European Plant Protection Organization website. The third and fourth expected products are to bring out critical genes involved in plant-virus interactions and resistance. The next users of these products will be seed companies, particularly the two that are included in the consortium, and ultimately the farmers. The improved IPM systems are expected to increase the proportion of eco-friendly disease control techniques in the Mediterranean. Finally, we expect that we will confirm the feasibility of RNA vaccination of plants against Gemini viruses, and that the validation and the demonstration of these techniques will be taken over by private or public actors. Thank you
very much
for your attention.
May I call Calliope Papadopoulou?
Okay, good morning from me too, to all of you. I'm going to present INTOMED, another MED, on innovative tools to combat crop pathogens and pests in the Mediterranean. We are three partners from Greece. University of Thessaly is coordinating the project, and two from Tunisia, Morocco, Spain, Portugal, and we have a colleague here in Montpellier, in Sirat. And the project will start on the 3rd of July. We have the kickoff meeting. The objectives is to first to identify biological control agents against pathogens, important pathogens and pests for three crops in the Mediterranean: tomatoes, olive and citrus trees. And these biological control agents, they are not going to be newly identified. We have already worked with them, so the project builds on previous capacity that we have and knowledge that we have from a series of European funded projects and national projects that have been completed or almost completed in our labs. And then we will go further deep into the molecular mechanisms that they govern these multipartite interactions that we are studying, and try to identify specific metabolites, small peptides, small RNAs that they may be used as tools and as alternative means of crop protection in the future. In this whole idea, we have, of course, a strong team of social scientists that will also evaluate and build on the acceptance of these novel tools and novel means of crop protection. And we hope that with these approaches, we will have scientific impact. We expect to find and suggest sustainable applications for these novel tools, and also develop platforms for interaction and mobility of researchers that they will help they will help the development of this very fast growing field of alternative means and microbials in pest and pathogen management. And we also believe that the results will address a number of sustainable development goals, SDGs, as concern environmental issues. I don't have the time to go through this, but also will give some answers to important social and economical problems that exist in the agriculture practices in the Mediterranean. Thank you.
Thank you very much. May I invite Joanna Brantes to present PRIMA-MED, please?
Good morning to you all. My name is Joanna Brantes, and I'll be coordinating PRIMA-MED. PRIMA-MED involves 6 countries and 9 partners. And PRIMA-MED stands for Improvement of Preventive Actions to Emerging Lactoviruses in the Mediterranean Basin, development and optimization of methodologies for pathogen detection and control. And lactoviruses are viruses that affect rabbits and cause rabbit hemorrhagic disease. And more recently, they've been discovered to affect also hares, and they cause high economic and biodiversity impacts. And so our project has been divided in 5 main objectives. And although our knowledge of the disease and its epidemiology is well known in Europe, this knowledge in Africa is quite limited. And especially relevant since rabbit is promoted in several poverty reduction programs. So in our first objective with using molecular tools, we'll plan to do epidemiology surveillance of the disease both in Europe but also in Africa, and with this elaborate a map of the disease and of susceptible species. Oh, is it working? Sorry. Okay. So, and the second objective of our project is optimization and validation of technical tools for better prevention and control of the disease. Several laboratories have different detection tools, and our aim is, with the knowledge obtained in Objective 1, to develop more efficient, cheaper and faster diagnostic tools. Then, in our third objective, we hope to study the interaction between the virus and the host, and we'll mainly focus on the immune responses triggered upon infection. For this, we will rely on experimental infections and study both innate and adaptive immune response with the goal of developing vaccines. Although we do have current vaccines for the virus, they have welfare concerns that we want to surpass. And then, with this knowledge, we hope to develop an intervention plan when facing an outbreak, but also measures so we can plan and protect production of rabbits. And we will do this based on the manual and the intervention plans that we already have in Europe, but extending them to the African setup. And finally, we hope to use all this knowledge for knowledge transfer and dissemination, providing training not only for scientists but also for young researchers. We want also to promote mobility between researchers from Africa to Europe, and we also want to give tools to stakeholders and policymakers on how to control and prevent this disease. So, as I've showed in the previous slide, our 3 first objectives are highly linked and will contribute greatly to our Objective 4. And these 4 objectives will contribute to our final Objective 5. And as expected impacts, we hope to provide technical and management tools to policymakers and stakeholders, and with the major goal of minimizing the negative impact of this disease, both in Europe and in Africa, in particular in the field and in production systems. This, of course, will increase rabbit production and also generate economic growth. And finally, with the tools that we aim to develop, including vaccines, we expect to implement new components and promote new employment opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you. May I invite Elena Baraldi to present Medberry. This one.
Protection against the computer.
No, it doesn't work.
It doesn't seem. Let's see, we'll try to find. On my computer, it was working.
Was it?
Because I opened all the presentation and showed.
Already you can save it as a PDF now.
Or we do it like this.
Yes, it's okay.
Close the bar on the right side.
It doesn't work. No.
It's protected. Oh, okay.
Technology conspiracy.
Okay, then, good morning. Yes, I am Elena Baraldi from the Department of Agriculture Science and Food Technology from the University of Bologna. And I want to thank Fabrice and all the PRIMA office for this invitation and for presenting my project, which is entitled Montpellier, Developing New Strategies to Protect the Strawberry Crop in Mediterranean Countries. Okay, beside us, there are other partners, both from scientific institutions and also industries from Italy, France, Morocco, Spain, and Turkey. This project will start the 1st of September. Okay, so first of all, why strawberry? Strawberry is a very important crop for the Mediterranean country. We produce more than one-fourth of the whole world production. And here also important industries and a big scientific community are active in strawberry studies. This is also because strawberry is a genetic model for other crop species such as apple, pear, plum, all the Rosaceae family. But strawberry is also very susceptible to diseases and now is under pressure for decreasing the use of agrochemicals and toxic pesticides that are currently used to protect the crop from these diseases. So in this context, Montpellier operates with 4 main objectives. The first of all is the valorization of the Mediterranean germplasm through the development of common breeding program across different countries in the Mediterranean, and also the development of new breeding technologies such as cisgenesis and intragenesis. These obviously are not allowed in Europe, but they are very important tools and protocols for studying the genetics of strawberry and for discovery new resistant genes. And also we want to develop new agrochemicals which are Red one? Okay. No?
Hello? Hello?
Okay.
Yeah.
Use that one.
So new agrochemicals that are based on the RNA molecules. These are inspired from the natural molecular communication between plant and pathogens at the very early stage of the interaction, and they are very specific, effective, and non-toxic. So as a fourth objective, we also want to study the economic sustainability of these products, especially in those countries where the agrosystems are not so much advanced, and also obviously the consumer acceptability. The impact of our project will be at different level, at the level of the environment, where less susceptible cultivar or less susceptible varieties and also better adapt to climate change will decrease the use of agrotoxic compound in the protection of strawberry, and this especially together with the newly developed agrochemicals. At the scientific level, where new important tools for genetic investigation will be developed through the MBT protocols. At the industry level, where these new marketable products can boost new energy in the production systems. And also, of course, in the society, where consumer will have safer fruits and better fruits. And this is the end. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You proved to be resilient to technological conspiracies. And let me ask for Demosthenes Kakalis, yes please, to present Zero Parasitic.
Hello, good morning. My name is Demosthenes Kakalis. I'm from Benaki Phytopathological Institute based in Athens, and I work for Wheat Science Laboratory. So being the last one in this session about animal and pest diseases, I'm going to talk about broom rapes. And this is the title of our project. It is about innovative, sustainable solutions for the broom rape management, and we're dealing for prevention and integrated pest management approaches. As you could see, we are the coordinators at Benaki. We do have the Agricultural University of Athens and the Agroland, which is an SME in Greece. And then we do have a partner from the University of Tübingen, Germany, and then from Spain, of course, and then moving to Morocco, the IAV, and then INRAT in Tunisia, another SME in Malta, Epsilon, Egypt, the Alexandria University, and finally, the colleague from Jordan, the National Center for Agricultural Research and Extension. And if I could say one thing about broom rapes is a very serious threat for quite a number of crops, and we're talking about industrial tomato, we're talking about legumes, and we're talking about tobacco. Tobacco still exists in some areas. So, and it used to be another crop that was sunflower. Well, on sunflower, the solution came some years ago from the industry through the development of herbicide-tolerant varieties. That was a system called Clearfield. We don't have the same system on the other crops, so the only solution is really sustainable management solutions. And we have to make sure that this is widely applied to the numbers that are really affected. So, if I could say one thing about our project, is really we're trying to be innovative and state-of-the-art strategies, tools, and technologies, and combine all those in a functional, holistic framework in order to achieve our goals. And this is a transdisciplinary and multi-actor effort, and I think they're not very clear, the diagram over there, but let me briefly say what you see here is actually the innovation tools we're developing. And these are the surveillance tools, and this is the IPM solutions. So all of those, they do actually interact, and all the actions, they are socioeconomically evaluated, and this is the dissemination, awareness raising, and training WP. So, the expected impacts. What we have tried to do is actually to increase and develop a framework for increased excellence in order to facilitate research, information, and technology exchanges with all sorts of directions between our partners in the Mediterranean region from 8 participating countries and 10 individual partners. If I could sum up the impacts, I would say 2 major areas. One is to advance the state of the art, dealing with molecular tools and mechanisms related to host-parasite interactions. It's a very important area. Then prediction models in order to predict parasitism, and then try to use precision agriculture in order to manage and monitor the problem. And finally, the last but not least, you cannot achieve sustainable solutions without socioeconomic and evaluation and the end user needs. So we do have a strong working package related to that the solutions make sure that are socioeconomically evaluated and implemented and disseminated in a participatory way. We try to make the whole thing on a system thinking approach based, and then we will develop an innovative web-based platform in order to communicate not only between ourselves, but with the end user of the whole area. Thank you very much.
Thank you. May I invite Ursula González Barrón from the University of Braganza for artisan food.
Okay, good morning to everybody. So I'm going to briefly present the objectives of this project, but before I would like to explain to you what inspired us to put this acronym to the project, Artisan. So it's easy to guess, artisan, that has to do with artisanal products, but sane, kind of we like this word because it's a Latin word that has to do with healthy and also with safe. This is what we want in the traditional products, to be healthy and safe. No, in other words, good quality. And the title is Innovative Biointerventions and Risk Modeling Approaches for Ensuring Microbial Safety and Quality of Mediterranean Artisanal Fermented Foods. As you can see, well, I am coordinating this project, and I come from Simon Mountain Research Center in Portugal, Polytechnic Institute of Braganza. But we have 8 partners from the Mediterranean, plus 1 from the United States of America. The project is due the 1st, or just started, sorry, the 1st of June of 2019, and we are soon to have the kickoff meeting on the 10th of July. Okay, so why we focus in these products? Because they are really highly appreciated, and there are over 100 traditional products that are very well known in the whole Mediterranean area. But we want to further promote these products and to facilitate the distribution, the consumption beyond the Mediterranean area. But to obtain this objective, we need really to make sure that the artisanal producers can produce foods that are of sustainable quality, so always the same quality, but also of high standards in terms of safety. So the objective is to develop efficient biointervention strategies, enhanced process criteria along the food chain, and an easy-to-use food safety decision support IT tool for participating artisanal food producers. So in total, there will be at least 20 artisanal producers that are going to be involved in this project, and we are all going to improve the quality of 15 artisanal fermented foods, and they are both of meat or dairy origin. So we expect to have local impact as well as impact at the macro level. A local impact, we want to help the artisanal producers to identify the routes of contamination, why their products are not always of assured safety, and what are the technological causes for this lack of homogeneity in quality. Also, we want to produce norms and standards for artisanal producers, but we don't want actually that all the producers make the same type of cheese, the same flavor, but at least within the factory, that the quality be the same, quality and safety. We want to study two types of intervention strategies, functional starter cultures as well as natural extracts. Why? Because we want to avoid the use of chemical preservatives like the nitrites, but also we want to reduce the food waste. And finally, the most important thing that we aim for is to develop an IT tool for decision making so that the artisanal producers can use an online site where they can optimize their variables for their food chains, and they can design themselves control charts that they can implement along production. Finally, at micro level, we have enumerated there, but I will focus only on the last, that has to do with establishing a Mediterranean nuclei of artisanal producers. So in principle, it will be formed by the 20 artisanal producers, but we want this project to be sustainable in time and that other researchers interested in this area can join, as well as other artisanal producers. Thank you.
Thank you. May I invite Latifa Abdenebinajar, please, to present Milkwa.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Latifa. I'm from Livestock Institute in France. And I would like first to thank the PRIMA Secretary and organization for giving me this opportunity to present Milka quality along the dairy chain for safe and sustainable milk. So our project engaged 10 partners, 5 partners from 4 European countries, France, Italy, Portugal, and Spain, and 5 partners from Tunisia, from livestock, industry, research, and veterinary school. So what is the aim of the project is to enhance milk safety and quality, which are critical issues for human health and welfare of one community. So we would like to reduce the antimicrobials in the farming in Tunisia. So the plan is to set up an extended based national milk program to reduce the incidence of mastitis and the consequent use of antibiotics in Tunisian farm. The second aim is to explore the potential use of essential oils and plant extract which have antibacterial and anti-inflammatory activities, to use it on the udder and also to include it in the diets of both young and adult cattle. We would like to decrease the burden of mastitis, to increase feed efficiency, to improve animal welfare, and to improve milk quality, including the shelf life of dairy product, and finally to enhance the role of Tunisian dairy producer as provider of sustainable food supply to consumer. So we would like to use innovative tools like omics and bioinformatics in order to reach these goals. So as you can see, the project is organized of 8 work packages. 6 of them are led by women and 4 of them in Tunisia. So we expect to have a high impact. So these impacts are of two kinds. First, innovation, potential of innovation. We would like to facilitate the development of new norms and standards for hazards prediction, of risk and assessment, to develop this new procedure for qualifying and classifying production sites and zoning from northwest to South Tunisia. So we reach all the Tunisian farms. We would like to develop and validate bio-based protection practice to select and characterize the natural extract and species with protective characteristics for food production, quality and storage. And finally, and importantly, increase the awareness of the consumer and contribute to a decrease of antibiotics use and of mastitis prevalence. And our impact also is on the main themes of FAO collaboration with Tunisia, basically improving the agriculture system, the sustainable management of agriculture resources. Thank you very much for your attention.
Marta Garron, please, to present camel milk.
Good morning, I am Marta Garron. I am from Catalonia, Spain. I am working in IRTA. I am a coordinator of camel milk project, both the production, processing and consumption of camel milk in the Mediterranean basin. The project has different partners, 14, and from Spain, Algeria, Germany, Croatia, France, Italy, and Turkey. Is in the section 1. The topic of the call is agro-food change, implementing innovation in Mediterranean agro-food chains by smallholders and SMEs. The budget is 2 million euros. The duration 36 months and start in 1st of June. Main objective. The aim of the camel milk project is to strengthen the competitiveness, growth and interaction of the actors of the camel milk value chain in the Mediterranean basin, including producers, processors, distributors and consumers. And to achieve the aim of this project, we propose the next objectives: improve camel milk production systems, produce innovative, nutritional and high-quality camel dairy products, determine regulatory issues and legalization to commercialize camel dairy products, analyze and improve the camel milk value chain in Europe member states and also in Turkey and Algeria, prepare for successful market implementation and exploitation, and define consumer acceptance of innovative camel milk and camel dairy products in EU and Turkey and Algeria, and devise and dissemination and communication plan for a maximum outreach of relevant stakeholders. And expect impact. The project is distributed in 9 work packages, and the impacts. One, deployment of a wider, faster and profitable innovative solutions by smallholders and SMEs, overcoming the barriers the market update, strengthen the food processing sector in line with Mediterranean values and heritage, improving competitiveness, create opportunities to growth, diversification, and job creation, particularly in smallholders and agro SMEs, strengthen Mediterranean food value chains, supporting product quality, healthy food consumption and consumer trust, reduce the negative impact of food value chains of the environment with particular reference to water, support the transition from a linear to circular economy, and also impact on the economy of the Mediterranean area and impact on the consumer health. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Marta. May I invite Xavier Felipe to present DENMI SME.
Good morning, my name is Xavier Felipe, and I am the coordinator of this proposal. It's focused on on dairy innovation. Dairy is a quite important sector in the Mediterranean, but it's different from the sector in the north of Europe, where the cow's milk is very strong. There are very large farms, and the system production is different. Now we have different kind of animals. We have goats, ewes, other animals, and all the system is different. And then sometimes it's difficult to compete with the products of North Europe. So that's the idea is to strengthen the sector and give new technologies, new products that can help to valorize the milk and cheese of all the Mediterranean. We have different companies from different countries. IRTA is where the coordinator. FATIC is a Dairy Technological Center in Egypt. Apex Agri is consulting SME. Alimenta, it's a EU's Milk Dairy SME. Space Italy is an association of SMEs. CTE is a Dairy Technological Center. EG University is from Turkey. Aneproca is a goat's milk dairy. And Econec is a machinery builder, because one of the new technologies we want to apply is called pulse drying system technology. That it's much cheaper and uses much less energy to dry milk and away. It's about 2 million euros of budget, and we're as part of section 1. There are 4 main objectives. One is to facilitate that small companies can dry their products, their milk, because it's difficult if you have milk in an island, it's difficult to move to other parts of transport. With a new system, with much energy, there is this system. It's very revolutionary because it needs between 20 and 30 less energy than normal system, and that's a big difference. So it's important. The third point is that we're going to try to concentrate weight protein fractions from the whey protein is used for infant formula. And in China and in other parts of the world, they are willing to buy this kind of proteins. So if we can help the sector to make these fractions concentrate of proteins, it's very interesting. And then the last is new kind of products with whey. The expected impacts, there are environmental impacts. The new technology is much less friendly about energy, and also we want to help people from the Nile to revalorize the whey from the cheese, because sometimes it's not used. And there are different industrial impacts, because we want to develop these new equipments, economical impacts, socials and scientific impacts. Thank you very much.
May I invite Guillermo Matute to present MED Tomato?
Thank you. My name is Guillermo Matute. I am project coordinator of MED Tomato, bringing innovation and sustainability for the whole value chain in Mediterranean tomato industry. We, the coordinators, we are ICT SME based on Spain. The project involves several countries covering the whole value chain, including Spain, Greece, Germany, Italy, Tunisia, Turkey, Spain, and Greece. And in the project we have 3 pilots to test the different results. So the main goal, what we want to achieve, is to increase productivity of existing production and processing plants, while respecting the different quality parameters that are demanded in the market for tomato producers. To this end, we are going to develop a range of different solutions, some of them based on ICT, other based on safety analysis, etc., to try to increase productivity, and I'm going to present rapidly these solutions. The first one is an online bees near sensor based on infrared, developed to monitor the Brix degree of the tomato, the total acid content, and also the firmness and color. And we are going to develop also a portable device so that tomato quality can be monitored on the field also. We are going also to enter to the pilots to see how they are going or they are doing right now fertigation techniques, and we are going to try to optimize them by centralizing them in a platform. This platform, which is shown there, integrates the data from the bees near quality properties of the tomato. It integrates the data on fertigation and also different market data and considerations, and we are able to estimate the production, and then our aim is to increase with the time this productivity, okay, via different machine learning and data analytics processes. And this is the overall sketch of the project. You can see the project starts with the development of these solutions, always taking into consideration the special needs of each demo site, because we have seen that conditions vary from site to site. We have the 3 demo sites, Spain, Italy, and Turkey, including different tomato varieties, because we want to test the bees near sensor in different conditions to see how it works. And then we will study results and the benefits at social economic level for the whole Mediterranean area. And we also have the intention to replicate the results from tomato to other crops. So expected impacts to finish are mainly for SMEs and smallholders. We believe we can deliver more high quality products. We can deliver to them sustainability. We can make them competitive against large companies. We can reduce operation costs. We can boost rural economies and fight the population indirectly. We have also a work package devoted to study microbiological risks and how to reduce them. And we want to achieve that technology penetrates in rural environments. So this is all.
Thank you very much. Let me now ask, I don't know your name, so because you are not the coordinator, but you've been so kind to come and replace the coordinators for Med for Youth.
Yes. Good morning. Thank you very much for the invitation. My name is Biotza Gutierrez. I'm from Fundació Eurecat, the coordinator of the project, and I'm replacing Antoni Caimari, which is the scientific coordinator. Med for Youth is the acronym for Mediterranean Enriched Diet for Tackling Youth Obesity. We are a consortium of 6 partners from 5 countries, and balancing research entities and SME companies. In the case of SME companies, starting from farmers and then ending to food production and manufacturing, and then as well another company providing food services. And it's a Section 2 priority, and with a budget around 1.5 and 63 years duration. And before starting with the objectives, maybe let me just 1 second to frame the project. I mean, it's known that obesity is one of the world's most challenging health problems, that it has been increased over the past 30 years. And it's not only maybe more developed countries, but also South and East countries are facing the same problem because they are changing life habits. There has been an increase in the boom explosion in demographics and also in economic development. And on the other hand, it is known that prevalence of obesity then has a lot of influence on other dysfunctions such as diabetes or hypercholesterolemia, and these are really risk factors for cardiovascular disease and other non-communicable diseases. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, so the main objective of the project is really strengthening again the health benefits of Mediterranean diet, and this, despite it was known to be very good, it has been abandoned, and particularly in the case of young people and adolescents. So we want to demonstrate how through an energy-restricted Mediterranean diet enriched with Mediterranean products can have or is more effective against youth obesity with respect to a low-fat diet. And talking about Mediterranean products such as nuts, such as pomegranate, such as sourdough bread, because it is known that they have bioactive compounds that have very health benefits. And on the other hand, we want to elucidate whether the Mediterranean diet has an impact on the gut microbiota and gut microbiota metabolites, and really how this is the mechanism of that it's exerting the action. And we will do this basically through or using two tools. The first one is through a multi-center nutritional and clinical intervention on the adolescents ranging from 13 to 16 years. And then through the use of omics technologies, data mining, and systems biology approach, because we want to measure not only metabolites derived from the gut microbiota, but also we want to measure food intake biomarkers in order to have a more accurate and qualitative and quantitative dietary dietary pattern. And concerning impacts, basically we had a very KPI on health, and we want to decrease body mass index as well as waist circumference in the Mediterranean group with respect to the low-fat control. We want, on the other hand, regarding social impact, to empower adolescents to take their own decisions, but decisions informed on nutrition, on health, and we will do this through web application and through this learning through playing approach. With respect to environmental impact and very related with economic impact, we want to introduce new crops and increase diversity in crops, recovering ancient cereals for bread making. And on the other hand, we want to contribute to the circular economy, as we want to, one of these breads we want to include or will be made by byproducts from the food industry. And finally, with respect to policy, we want to demonstrate that our methodology is robust and is scientifically proven, and hoping that this will be used to draft new policies in terms of nutrition and health. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much. This was the only project that was selected on Mediterranean diet. Let me invite now Jordi Saldó, who will present Boomerang.
Thank you. It's quite late, and I will try to be very short and going to the main meaning. Well, this is a project with 11 partners from 7 different countries, and the objective is to improve nutrition of the population, and also to produce enriched products, enriched cereals, by different biofortification strategies. So, well, we have in general in all the Mediterranean area, but also outside of that, there is a problem on deficiency of iron, zinc, but also in other minerals in our bodies, and it's mainly because of the diet. The diet can be deficient, and the vegetable products can be deficient on these metals because they are not good enough on taking from the ground, or because of the soils are poor on these materials. So the strategies are to improve the ability of the cereals to uptake these minerals. We will not do any modification of the cereals, but just select among the germoplasm banks to select the best land races. The other approach is to develop some tools for biofortification by fertilization, either foliar or soil fertilization, and demonstrate these approaches, these management tools, to transfer them to the producers. But there is a third approach, because all this field fertilization will end up with part of the metals drain to the soil, and this is especially severe in the case of selenium. Selenium the reserves of selenium are quite limited, and we don't want to lose this valuable material. And then the other approach is to allow the kernel to uptake the metal through a malting process by soaking in the water rich in the mineral will allow the grain to uptake, and through the germination it will be incorporated into biomolecules. From all these materials, it will be produced several commercial products as pasta, couscous semola, or other products to be offered to the populations to be consumed, first to test the acceptability, but then to be consumed, and to check the improvement on the health of the populations consuming these products. So the main impacts will be to produce these biofortified products that will have an impact in the population, but also an impact on the producers, allowing them to produce a value-added product to sell this product as different as other staple products. And it will be still producing something that consumers will recognize as something traditional, something not far away from the traditional consumption. All these practices will be transferred to the producers, and it will be offered to the local producers. And also another side product from the project will be the certification tools, some analytical tools to certify that the product has been produced through these techniques and still having this improved nutritional value. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. May I invite Maria Jose Frutos to present Saffron Food.
Thank you very much, and good morning. So first of all, also thank you to PRIMA for this opportunity to present our project. Saffron Food it aims at the valorization of the saffron and its floral byproducts as a sustainable source for the development of high added value food products. This project involves 9 different institutions from 6 countries. And my name is Maria Jose Frutos. I am the scientific coordinator. I work at Miguel Hernández University in Spain. And one of the facts that I would like to highlight from this consortium is the high multidisciplinarity, because the project goes from the agronomic side through food chemistry, processing, and ending up with clinical trials. So this is one of the main values of the consortium. So this is the methodology of the project, and we can see how the different work packages are interrelated. The first one is on the agricultural program. This will be carried out in Algeria mainly, and we will count on the collaboration of local producers, and this will be really a high value input for them, all the developments that will be attained with this project. In fact, this is a very profitable source because we have to take into consideration that for the production of 1 kilogram of saffron, 350 kilograms of flowers of tepals are needed. And taking into consideration all the market of saffron, it means that we are talking about a big amount of this product. Then after this agricultural program, another part of the project is aimed at characterizing and selecting high quality saffron and flowers for further processing. Another team is focused on the obtention of the extracts and through eco-friendly processes. We count also on a company among our partners that will be in charge also of the production of these extracts and also food supplements for further for the later studies. With all these selected ingredients that will be stabilized, we will develop food products from a Mediterranean diet, and we will focus also in vitro and in vivo evidences and on beneficial effects with a special emphasis on mood and cognition. We count on animal models, and then we will also perform an interventional study in humans. So you can see that we are taking advantage of all the bioactives, mainly flavonoids and different types of carotenoids, terpenes. And well, this is in one shot all the tasks that are involved. You see the complexity, and so I think that in this case we will achieve scientific sound foundation for all the health claims that can be done in saffron and its flowers with this integral approach from the agricultural part to the clinical studies. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Last but not least, Lucia Quilanti, please. We started with an Italian lady, we finished with an Italian lady.
Thank you very much, and good morning to everybody. In the meanwhile that they are searching for my presentation, the title of the project is Valorization of Distal Cardlid Cheeses. Maybe I cannot read, I don't remember by heart, but the acronym is PRIMA-MED cheese. As you can see, there are 5 partners from 4 countries, which are Italy, Spain, Greece, and Tunisia. I'm Lucia Quilanti, and I work at the Università Politecnica delle Marche. I'm a macrobiologist. The project is within the thematic area 3, Mediterranean food value chain for regional and local development, and topic 3.1, valorizing food products from traditional Mediterranean diet. The duration is 36 months, and the project has already started on the 1st of May. So we have also the logos ready, which is on the top of the slide on your right. I need to, oh, thank you. Okay, the main objectives are, of course, to valorize traditional and typical local cheeses by meeting the worldwide increase in the demand of cheeses made by non-animal rennet. So this is the main objective. Assess the technological and socioeconomic viability of the utilization and valorization of spontaneous herbaceous plants in the Mediterranean as traditional alternatives to animal rennet. In more detail, we will exploit cardoon species which grown spontaneous in the Mediterranean basin and which can be a source of milk clotting agents. Then we have the build upon traditional knowledge and culinary heritage while establishing the conditions for better control of safety and quality of traditional cheeses. And finally, improve the traditional cheesemaking value chain. These are the main objectives. Which are the expected impacts? Of course, we are within the development of new products, bioactive extracts and molecules, and functional food, nutrients, and bioactive compounds linked to local traditional protocols and recipes, and according to seasonal and sustainable production schemes. As you can see, there are different products which can be included in this expected impact, as for example, new sustainable thistle crops or cardoon crops from selected thistle species ecotypes. And more specifically, we have already identified 3 species of interest, which are listed, Cynara humilis, Carlina cantifolia, and Onopordum tauricum, which are traditionally used by local dairies for the manufacture of cheese. The new products will consist of 2 types of cheeses. One type is represented by Cacciofiore and Torta del Casar, which are 2 cheeses traditionally produced by using vegetable rennet, whereas the other type of new products are cheeses which actually are manufactured by using animal rennet, and these are feta and queso de Murcia. Also, new molecules will be produced by the project, since we want to isolate and purify new proteases which can be exploited by the cheesemaking dairy industry. And of course, even to evaluate which is the final effect on the consumer acceptance towards these vegetarian cheeses. There are also other expected impacts, for example, the development of new tools to demonstrate quality and authenticity of raw materials and product, and a list of other minority impacts. That's all. Thank you for your attention.
Well, thank you very much. Let me first congratulate you all, because you've been, we finish on time, which is quite remarkable considering the number of interventions. Then I'd like to ask the gentleman who wants to say a couple of things. So why don't you come here, because all the microphones.
Hello?
Yeah, this one works.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like firstly to congratulate PRIMA for selecting a very wide thing, all sound and all interest, and congratulate you for finishing this hard job in the time left. Well, I mean, surely we are proud of all the projects which are here today, the same as we are proud of the internet projects which we hear it about the last 2 days. So, but this is will raise the main question, where to go? We have, as a scientist, I used to be a scientist also before getting my white gray hair, that we are interested in what to do. We are believing, we are doing rightly. But everybody put it in a separate island. Where we go from here? And we all have the trust in PRIMA to get us where we want to go, to have a research for development. I think this is not us as a scientist, but also as a developing agency and a policymaker. Yesterday, we raised the issue that we have a problem of communication between the researcher and the policymaker, because the researcher give him a certain output, which the policymaker didn't see how to apply it, how to implement it to get the developing. So I hope PRIMA will give much attention to get out this outcome, to have it really a source of recommendation for implementation and to put it on the policymaker. How to do that? There is so many of that. I mean, I remember in the beginning of RMNet 2, we have ESRA, a strategic plan of action for research in Mediterranean. And I think number of our colleagues here I have the honor to be a member of it, but I think we do it. This is one way. Maybe you have a task force to do the things. We have, let us say, natural resources. We have soil, we have water, we have land, we have biodiversity. So we can either have a task force for the whole natural resources, or a task force for each one of them, advisory board, whatever it is, to see what is the finding which we have it up to now, and what is the expected output from the project, and to see the gaps, where the gaps is, to find, to be concluded in a clear recommendation for implementation and development for the developing agency and for the policymaker. This is very important thing, I think, for PRIMA to adopt. The other thing, I don't see what to fund by Section 2 and what to fund by Section 1. I think the gaps and the path to go, it should be in Section 1. Whereas the local interest for each country could be funded by Section 2. This is how to see it. I discussed these views with a number of my internet network, and I think they are generally agreed with it. Of course, I'm quite sure that you have your some sort of ideas and strategy in mind, but I feel that maybe this is the last day to interact with both of you, to put some of our views. Surely it's not only mine, because I discussed it with a number of people, that it is on the table for you to take care of it or not. It is up to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, I think this one maybe it doesn't work.
No problem.
So thank you very much for your comments. Certainly, Fabrice now will already give some. No, attends. That he will give you some ideas he has for PRIMA-MED, for people from PRIMA-MED projects here, and the potential synergies that we may have. And he will also instruct us about logistics for lunch and afternoon. And to close the session this morning, this very intense session, just let me again congratulate you all for having achieved to be selected with such a hard competition, and to ask the co-chair to give a short speech to close this morning session at PRIMA-MED PRIMA.
Thank you, Octavian. Thank you, everybody. I really enjoyed all these projects and really looking forward for the outcomes. I see a lot of opportunities that we are really expecting from your side, and we hope that we will achieve most of the outcomes. We know that we will face some challenges, but achieving most of these expected outcomes will be a great achievement for us. We know that we will face some challenges during the road, and this is why PRIMA is here. We are here to facilitate all the challenges. We know that there are different countries, different legalization. You'll face some problems here or there, and that's why you'll find that PRIMA has all the flavors. So you'll have someone from the south, some from the north, and understands the research infrastructure within each country, and they will work very hard, the officers with the Secretariat and the Board of Trustees, to facilitate all of these. So, and I can reply to Dr. Adil that PRIMA is not just a funding body. No, we are a platform. We are a platform for making change in the region. That's exactly our aim and what we are trying to reach. And it's a model for cooperation. And you can come to PRIMA, and through PRIMA, we'll work very hard through our implementation plan and our secretariat to implement all of what you get and all of what the results of these projects to be implemented within the region. And this is our aim. By the end of 2027, we hope we are looking for innovation and a real effect on our communities. And very important thing that we hope from your side, that don't work in isolated islands. The PRIMA Foundation is there to connect you, all the projects that are going to be launched in 2018, and please also be oriented of our projects in 2019, be connected with them, and we will work hard that we connect these projects together, because working together will make things much more easier. Always follow us. We are trying to have many activities that will be launched very soon through our website. And I can tell you that I heard some words that what exactly PRIMA is looking for. In many of the projects, you mentioned end users, innovative way, market share, products, capacity development, healthier Mediterranean, sustainability, consumer, new policies. That's exactly what we are aiming to reach. Thank you so much. Inshallah, you will have very successful projects, and I assure you that all of the PRIMA is here to help you. Thank you again, and enjoy your lunch.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your presentation. With Ali, we were in ARIMNET before, and we have been these last 2 days also watching and listening presentation of the ARIMNET project. And I will follow exactly the line of our co-chair, who say, don't work isolated, because we have seen a lot of projects that can have combine or synergy between them. I'm thinking project about camels, for example. There are projects about bee health. There are projects about fermented food. All the topic we have seen this morning, and we really believe that there can be synergy between this project. Also a project about breeding. There is a lot of project about breeding, about pest management. I really invite you to check in the website of ARIMNET, for example. There is the list of the project, to contact the coordinator, to make like something bigger, and to avoid maybe duplication. So thank you very much for your work. Now I will be more practical. I will invite you to the lunch. So the lunch, you have to go down, and it will be in the other building just outside. This afternoon, the session is private, so it's only for the coordinator of the project and sometimes the financial manager or project officer. And it will not be in this room, it will be in the room Badian. So it's in front of the desk where you registered. There is a corridor. At the end of the corridor, this is the room where we will meet. We will have a first session common to section 1 and section 2, where Mohamed will present you the rules of monitoring, follow-up, etc. And after, we will split in 2 groups. Yes, of course, founders. sorry. No, of course. Founders and coordinators are obviously welcome. And after, we will split, and the coordinator of section 2 will have the opportunity to speak with the funding agency. And section 1, you will have the opportunity to speak with us, where Pao will give you the information about financial follow-up.
There will be a picture with the coordinator.
Okay. Where? Just before leaving, please, the coordinator, we want to take a picture for this kickoff. So maybe we can take it outside, I think. So if we can join at the desk, the register, or here, please. The coordinator of the project PRIMA, if you can stay here. Thank you.
Because if you are on the stairs.
Do you know where the slide with the kickoff is? Slide of what? The PRIMA logo behind. Agenda? Yes, this one. Thank you. Yes. Yes, sir. No, but just send an email and I will work to improve this. Can I give you my email now? We did already. We had they don't recognize and they want us to have